Hi, so we're going to look at the parts of the amphibian. I hope it all fits in here. So, the first part we're going to talk about is the whole amphibian. What is an amphibian? So an amphibian is a creature or an animal that lives half of its life in water as a fish and half of its life on land. And we're going to have a look at this word, the amphibian. So I'm going to place that here, and I'm also going to place the information card. We're going to look at the different cards, and then we'll sort of match them together with the children. So if we look at this one, the red part is this tiny little dot there. So who thinks they might know what that is? This part is showing this crease here, this highlighted part here. And that one's pretty easy, right? And we'll talk a little more about the parts when we've laid them down. Here we have a little circle to the rear of the eye. Here we see the frog's eye. It's kind of a big bulging eye. Here we have the hind leg, and then here are its little toes. We'll talk a little more about these as well. I'm going to lay them out and see, maybe it would be better over here. This part obviously is talking about the whole leg. Okay, we're probably not going to be able to fit them in. I'll have to pan around with the camera. Here we see the front legs. Its little front toes. And that part's talking about its head. So I'm going to lay them like this, and we'll try and fit them in. Okay, so we have the amphibian, and then this one is the nostrils. So the nostril was referring to the little hole here. They have two little nostrils that help them breathe, and we'll learn more about the nostrils in just a minute. Can you read this one? Front toes. And these are the front toes. Okay, you read them with me. What's that one? Head. The head. And here is the frog's head. He has a pretty big head, doesn't he? So this one says 4 legs. 4 legs. So it's not 4 like the number 4. It's a homophone, isn't it? This 4, F-O-R-E, means in the front, 4 legs. The front legs. So here are the front legs, or the 4 legs. This one says hind legs. So if you think of behind, hind is in the back. The hind legs, the legs in the back, and we know that frogs have really big, powerful hind legs. Mouth, so we can place that on the frog's mouth, and this is the one with the mouth. Ears, so we know frogs don't have ears in the traditional sense, like we have ears that you can see sticking out, but they do have a little eardrum called a tympanum. The sound will vibrate on that. They have eyes that are pretty easy to find. They're rather large and they're bulging. And our last label talks about hind toes. Toes in the back, and these are the hind toes. Okay, so we're going to read our information cards together and see if we can match with our pictures. So this one says, the head is directly, can you see it? Let me see. The head is directly attached to the body, since frogs have no necks. The head contains the eyes, nose, mouth, and ears of the frog. Can you see that? So this one goes with the head, and we'll place it with head. This card says the frog's forelegs, and remember that kind of four means in the front. The frog's forelegs end in four clawless front toes. We know the suffix less, L-E-S-S, means without. Clawless. They have no claws on their front toes. No claws. They're clawless. This goes with their front toes, and we'll match that one. Let's read this one together. The forelegs, meaning the front legs, the forelegs are small and are sometimes used to push food into the frog's mouth. Do you know a frog can also shed its skin, and it uses its front paws or its front claws and hands to push its skin in and eat it? So the forelegs, the front legs, will go here. The large hind legs, can you all see that? So the large hind legs, and hind means behind or in the back, are powered by strong muscles which produce the frog's characteristic leap. So when you get the big words, remember to break them into different parts. Characteristic. So hind legs, we'll match that one. The nostrils open into the mouth cavity, making it possible for the frog to breathe without opening its mouth. So this one goes with the nostrils. Those were the little holes above its mouth. A large mouth extends from one side of the head of the frog to the other. So that is a giant mouth. Very good for catching bugs. Remember that a frog has a very long sticky tongue too. The ears are near the eyes, and they aid means to help. They aid the frog in hearing. So they have big roundy tympanums, and the sound will vibrate. And we'll put that one over here. This one says each hind leg ends with the hind toes. Remember hind, the ones in the back. The frog uses the 5 webbed toes for swimming. So its back toes are different to the front toes. They're webbed for swimming. And now we're going to talk about the eyes. So a pair of bulging eyes can look in all directions, and that's really great for the frog for protection from predators. The bulging eyes enable, that means they allow or they help, they enable the frog to see even when the rest of the body is submerged in water. So the frog could be completely submerged or underwater, and yet its eyes can poke out or stick out. And when that happens, it's able to see what's coming while it's under the water. And I'm kind of thinking in my head, alligators, they kind of have those eyes too, don't they? So I'm going to ask you to make something on the parts of the amphibian. It doesn't have to be a frog. Frogs are not the only amphibians. Maybe you can research other amphibians and you could make a model and label it. Maybe you want to sew one. Oops, my battery's going out. Maybe you want to sew one or paint one, make a book of all the different parts. Use your imagination and be creative. Bye-bye.